Hey friends, in today's video, I'm going to share my step-by-step guide on how to use Scalable Capital. Please use this QR code or the first link in the description to sign up with Scalable Capital. During the process of identity verification, you might have a screen on your Scalable Capital app showing that you should transfer your securities. In that case, if you have a broker account with any other investment app, you can transfer your securities from that investment app into Scalable Capital. But if you're new and you don't have any securities in any other brokers or investment apps, then you don't need to do anything. Wait for your identity to be verified. So once you sign up and have verified your identity, you'll come to a screen which is similar to this one. On the top left-hand side, you have your complete portfolio performance and the portfolio value. We can select the daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly performance. We can select just the absolute return or the portfolio value. I'll share details of my own specific portfolio in a second, but let's simply go through the user interface. Then we have our savings plan, payment options, transactions, insights, price alerts. Then we have our cash position and portfolio. After that, we can select cryptocurrencies and we can also put certain things in our watch list. The first thing we need to understand is that we would first have to add money from our reference account into a broker account, and then we would be able to buy stocks, ETFs, or cryptocurrencies. There's another option which is called savings plan. I'll share the details of savings plan later on in this video. So to add payments into your Scalable Capital account, we're going to go and tap on payments. Here we have two options: pay in, which is going to add funds from our external account into our Scalable Capital account, and pay out is the money that we want to transfer out from Scalable Capital into our reference account. So we're going to tap in pay in. Here we have instant payment, quick via money transfer, and then we have convenient via direct debit. Once you have your details attached with Scalable Capital, you can select any of these options to add money to your Scalable Capital account. All right. So let me share my Scalable Capital portfolio with you and show you how things would look if you have some money added into it and how things would look like in an actual scenario. So right now you can see my portfolio. It is going to fluctuate while I make this video. So at this specific second, the portfolio value is 28,008 euros with 12 cents. And today's performance is minus 316 euros and 69 cents. As I said, on the top left-hand side, we have our portfolio value, then today's performance. As I've selected the daily view, I can select weekly view to see the weekly performance, monthly, yearly, and the maximum since I have started this portfolio. So I can also hold and press at the timeline and see the details of specific days if I want to see specific details on that day. On the right-hand side, we select the gear icon and we have two options. We can select portfolio value and the absolute return. I'm going to tap on portfolio value, and now we can see that the total value of the portfolio is being shown. So at its peak, the portfolio value was 33,000 something, and right now it's 27,997 euros. If you go back and tap on the gear icon, select absolute return, here we're going to see the absolute value in terms of profits or loss, whichever you have at that moment. Let's scroll down a little bit, and after that, we have our portfolio. Now you can have certain folders created within Scalable Capital to add or arrange your portfolio. In my portfolio, I have arranged all of the individual stocks in a stocks folder, and then I have a single ETF, so I am keeping it outside a folder. If you have multiple stocks, if you have multiple categories, if you want to arrange your stocks and ETFs, you can use folders. Generally, I just use, as I said, separation for my stocks and a single ETF. After that, we have our crypto portfolio. At the bottom is the watch list. I can add certain stocks, ETFs that I want to follow. Simply tap on add to watch list and add certain things. On the top right hand side, you can tap on the star to add it into your watch list. So let's go back and see to our broker. And then here we have added this Amundi Leverage MSCI Daily ETF in our watch list. So if you go at the bottom, we have broker, credit, fine, wealth, and profile. There are certain options available in Scalable Capital, which is getting credit based on your portfolio. And then there's also a wealth management option, which helps you manage your portfolio based on a robo-advisor. The credit and wealth option are outside the scope of this video. So if you want me to cover these two as well, please let me know in the comments below. Let's go to the profile section. At this moment, Scalable Capital has an account option with Barter Bank and Scalable Capital internally itself. In a couple of months, everything will be consolidated and the Barter Bank account would be closed and your securities would be moved into Scalable Capital. So don't worry if you see only one option on the top, which is Scalable Capital, or they might even remove this option because you'll have just one option. The first select account is not applicable for you right now or in the future. So I'm using the free account from Scalable Capital. I don't have any problems, but if you are interested in using the premium option, you can tap here and get into the Prime Plus account, which is a paid option. After that, you can invite your friends. You can add products, which, as I said, include credit or wealth. Then we have our mailbox. Here we get all of the important information like changes in interest rate, or the monthly bank statement, or the account statement, and any other important information that Scalable Capital shares with us. Then we have in my products the details of our broker. So right now I'm using the free broker. I can cancel the broker by tapping on the cancel option. Then we have our cash account, where the money from our reference account comes into Scalable Capital while it is uninvested. Then we have our securities account, which holds the value or the stocks and ETFs that we have invested in Scalable Capital. So here we need to understand two things. Once we send cash in terms of euros into our Scalable Capital account, the money comes from our reference account into the Scalable Capital cash account. Here, if it is uninvested, this means that we are not buying any stocks, ETFs, or crypto at the moment. If you have the premium account with Scalable Capital, you can get certain interest on this uninvested amount, while in the free option, there is no interest on uninvested amount at this moment of time. So once you transfer from your reference account into your Scalable Capital cash account, the money is in the cash account. Once you buy stocks, ETFs, or crypto, then these assets would be moved into the securities account, as those will be secured. In the next option, we have the tax exemption order. This is very important, and it should be one of the first things that you set up once you have registered with Scalable Capital. Here you can use the tax-free allowance from the German government. As a single, you can use 1,000 euros tax-free profit on your capital gains. So you need to set it up properly before you start investing. The process is quite simple. Simply tap on tax exemption, select whichever is applicable, and add the relevant information. It will just need your tax identification number and certain details like your name, marital status, so on and so forth. You can add a single tax exemption order or add a joint exemption order with your spouse. Please hit the like button if you're getting value from this video and consider subscribing. Then we have the tax information, where we get all of the overview on if there are any realized losses, any withheld taxes, and certain general information like your tax identification number and your tax residence. All right. You can also set up your password and change your personal information or set two-factor authentication. So let's go back into the main broker. And now let's say we want to buy a stock or an ETF. In Scalable Capital, you generally have two options. The first one is to buy a stock or ETF directly. And the second option is to use a savings plan. To buy a stock or ETF directly, you can simply go to the find option. Now here we have a lot of options to choose from, but let's say we have a certain stock in mind. So we're going to tap in search and search for that stock. So I'm going to search for Apple. Here we have different options. So make sure you select the proper one. So in our case, it's the first option. Then we have certain details about Apple available here. So the daily performance, weekly, monthly, 6 months, or the yearly performance. Now we can tap sell if you have already bought certain stocks of Apple, or we can tap buy. So if you want to directly buy a stock, we're going to tap buy. Now in Scalable Capital, at this moment, you cannot directly buy fractional shares. What this means is that you need to have a certain amount of balance available in your Scalable Capital account, and you can buy stocks in a whole number. So let's say in Scalable Capital, the value of Apple at this moment is 200 euros and 45 cents. And I don't have this amount available in my Scalable Capital portfolio. So I cannot simply directly buy a small amount of Apple stock or a fractional share of Apple stock. I would need to have at least 200 euros and 45 cents to buy a single stock of Apple. So let's say if I don't have any funds in my Scalable Capital account and I say I want to buy it for €1. So at this moment, what it's going to say is that I'm setting up a limit order. A limit order means that I want to buy this stock or ETF at that specific value. So adding €1 would mean that I am wanting to buy this Apple stock if and only if its value is at €1. A lot of people make this mistake and simply tap a different value, let's say 10, 50, €100, and tap buy and think that their order is not going forward. It's because they are setting up a limit order and not buying this because they don't have enough funds. If you have enough funds, you can select in terms of a target amount or a number of shares. You're going to add the funds into your account and select the number of shares you want to buy and simply tap buy to buy that stock or ETF. But let's say if you don't have funds into your account and you don't want to buy whole stocks. Let's say if you want to buy a stock whose value is, let's say, €1,000 and you don't want to buy a whole stock or invest that much amount into a single stock at a single moment, you can use the savings plan option, which is very amazing and it's very easy to set up. A savings plan, simply put, is you buying a stock or an ETF at a specific time interval for a specific value. Let me share this specific example so you can understand it better. We want to buy an Apple stock, but not for €200. So we're going to set up a savings plan. So scroll down, tap on Set up Savings Plan. Here we get an option of Select Savings Amount. We can start from just €1 and up to €1,000. So in our case, let's start with just €1. We're going to write down €1 and tap Continue. Now we have some more options available. The first was Savings Amount, which is €1. Then we have Execution Frequency. So we're going to tap that. Here we have the details. So do we want this savings plan to run monthly, every 2 months, quarterly, every 6 months, or annually? So let's say if you want to buy Apple stock every year, you can tap annually, every 6 months, quarterly, or whatever. For most cases, I prefer to use monthly. So I'm going to tap on monthly and tap Save. Next, we have the execution date. You have an option of 9 dates from which you can select the execution date. Whenever I set up a savings plan, I tap on the soonest option so that the savings plan executes on that specific day. But let's say if you get funds on the 5th, 15th, 20th, or 25th of the month, it's better that first you have funds in your bank account, then those funds would be drawn from your reference account into the Scalable Capital cash account, and then the funds would be executed. So depending on when you get your funds into your bank account, when you get your salary, you can select that specific day and run your savings plan based on that schedule. So as I said, I'm going to select the soonest option, which is 4th of the month. Tap Continue. Next, we have an option from which month should the execution start. While I'm making this video, it's April. So I'm going to tap April and tap Save. After that, we have inflation adjustment. For most situations, the idea of running a savings plan is to set it up once and forget about it, and everything is being run in the background and you don't think about it that often. So let's say if you have set up a savings plan a year ago and you want to adjust in terms of inflation. So if you select 2%, this would mean that every year the amount would be adjusted 2%. So let's say every year we execute a savings plan, which is worth €1,000, and we say 2% inflation. So the next year, the whole Scalable Capital savings plan would be €1,020 based on our 2% inflation adjustment. But usually I just keep it inactive. After that, we have our payment method. Let's tap on our payment method. Here we have the direct debit. This is a great option. We can simply ask Scalable Capital to take funds from our reference account automatically and just add those funds whenever the savings plan is executed. Or what we can do is get funds from our clearing account. As I said in the beginning, this is the cash account in Scalable Capital. So we manually add funds from our reference account or our main Giro or savings account into Scalable Capital cash account, and those funds would be available in our clearing account. So it depends on how you want to execute the savings plan. But in most cases, or what I prefer, is just tap on SEPA direct debit and the funds are directly taken from my bank account. So we tap Save and we go over the information again. And if we are satisfied, we tap Activate Savings Plan. That's it. The savings plan is now saved. And as you can also see here, €1 per month savings plan would be executed every single month. Now, this is not a savings plan in terms of a bank account where we add funds for a fixed time frame and then there are certain conditions. Obviously, there are certain conditions here also, but you can easily delete or modify or update your savings plan. For example, we had just €1 execution per month. We can change it to €2, €12. We can change the date, month, execution, type of payment, or we can also simply delete the savings plan. Now, if you have deleted the savings plan, it does not mean that all of our previous investments in that stock or ETF have been deleted. It's just that no new executions would be made on that order. But the best thing is you can set up a savings plan again. Now you know how to set up a savings plan. The same thing applies for stocks or ETF. So let's go and have a look at the find option. Once you go in the find option, you have multiple options to explore from. The first thing we have is the popular section where we have the most traded, popular savings plan, bonds, most watched, newly listed, etc. So let's go into the most traded. Here we see the most traded options on Scalable Capital platform. You can scroll and see which options are most popular on Scalable Capital at that specific time. These things change often, and depending on how the market is performing, certain stocks are more traded at a specific time and certain less. It's a great option to find out different stocks that you are not aware of and then do your own research based on how you want to invest. There are many other options available like regions, strategies, industries, and megatrends. But usually what I do is simply tap on search and search whichever options that I'm interested in. We can select cryptocurrencies, stocks, ETFs, funds, and derivatives. Derivatives are complex structures. I don't cover derivatives, so as a beginner, I would also recommend that you should stay away from derivatives. Once you know how the stock market works, how trading works, and how investment works, then you can look into derivatives. But if you are new to it, I would stay away from derivatives. Now let's search for certain ETFs. One of my favorite is the MSCI World. So we're going to write down MSCI and tap yes. You can see here, there are many options available when we type MSCI. So the first option is the ETF that is from Scalable Capital itself. Then you see a certain thing in the brackets, which is saying ACC. There are also certain ETFs that are having DIST in a bracket as well. So the ACC are accumulating ETFs and the DISC are distributing. An accumulating ETF is an ETF which accumulates all the dividends and auto reinvests, while the DIST or the distributing ETFs distribute the dividends. So that's the main difference between accumulating and distributing ETFs. Let's have a look at one of the ETFs that I am investing on a regular basis. Here is the iShares S&P 500 Information Technology Sector Accumulating ETF. My total position in this ETF is 5,328 euros. In that, I have invested a total amount of 4,239 euros. So I have 1,088 euros of unrealized profit. In terms of percentage, it's going to be 25.63%. So when I say unrealized profit, this means that I have invested this amount and the value of the stock has increased and the value of my position is 5,300 euros instead of 4,239 euros, which I had invested. So when I sell this stock or ETF, only then will I be realizing this profit. If I don't realize this profit, there's no capital gains applicable on that ETF, but there are certain taxes applicable. One of them is for our Pauschale. I have a detailed video on that. You can watch it here or here. To realize or to lock in the gains, you need to sell that stock or ETF. You can sell a portion of that stock or ETF, or you can sell the whole position. So it depends on how you want to proceed. Similar to stocks and ETFs, you can also buy cryptocurrencies using Scalable Capital. So I'm going to just go and look at Bitcoin. So you can buy crypto directly, sell, or also set up a savings plan. The same process applies for cryptos, ETFs, and stocks for buying, selling, and setting up a savings plan. Now, this was a general overview of how to use Scalable Capital. If you have any questions, please write them down in the comments below. I'll have a look and I'll try to answer all of them as soon as possible. And if there are many questions on a specific topic, I'll try to make a video on that topic as well. And if you want to learn more on how I'm investing and want to learn more about my own portfolio, how I invest, you can watch this video. And in this video, I compare Scalable Capital with other investing apps in German. So thanks for watching. Bleib gesund and I'll see you in one of these videos.